So Oblivion without killing anyone was a certainly unique experience near the end, to say the least. So for this week, I want to try something that's a bit more traditional. We're heading back to Fallout 3 this time with another specific weapons challenge as well, as I aim to find out, can you beat Fallout 3 with only the .32 pistol? Okay, so some of you may be wondering why the .32 pistol? Well, for some context, it is considered to be one of, if not the worst gun in the entire game. The only guns that come close are the Chinese pistol and the BB gun. The reason that I think the .32 is the worst is because the Chinese pistol may do similar damage, but it also uses 10mm ammo, which is a lot more common than .32 rounds. And I personally believe it is worse than the BB gun, as the BB gun can fire 100 BBs before having to reload, whereas the .32 can only fire 5 bullets before it needs to reload. I'm hoping it goes something like this. But if I'm honest, it's more likely going to be something like this. Okay, and with that out of the way, the rules for this challenge are: I can only use the .32 pistol to attack enemies. If I accidentally use something else, I will need to reload a previous save. No companions outside of the main story, as it would be too easy to just let them do all the work. Those are the only rules I have, so with that, let's get started. Okay, when the game begins and we get to name and create our character, I was initially going to make Revolver Ocelot from Metal Gear, but I don't want to risk action from the Konami legal team, so instead we go with his copyright-free cousin, Pistol Bobcat. Despite being cousins, he has a striking resemblance to Ocelot, only that his eyes are a little bit off. Whenever Dad traps us inside the playpen, I manage to grab a ball that should be well out of reach for a 1-year-old, which tells me either Pistol Bobcat has telekinesis or incredibly long spaghetti arms. Truly, I don't know which is more terrifying. When assigning special points, I put everything in luck, partially for the increased critical hit chance, and partially because I think it'll be funny. You may have noticed that I'm not glitching my way through time and space to escape the vault this time. Well, that's because I'm not playing through the game as a baby again. I have already proved I can do that, so therefore skipping the rad roach is pointless, and instead I'm stepping on the rad roach and you can't stop me. After which I'm stuck behind the invisible wall and need to VATS punch my father to escape. I choose to just skip the goat and assign small guns, repair and lockpick as my tag skills. I have no idea why I chose lockpick. I never once increased the stat, as it's never needed. It would have made far more sense to take something like sneak or medicine, but it is what it is, I guess. When escaping, I tell Amanda to keep the pistol as I don't need it, then as soon as she leaves, realise I could have sold it for money. Damn it. Unlike last time, the vault will be full of security that I won't be able to fight back against, but I'm a man, so it's time to roll up my big boy sleeves and suck it up. In all seriousness, this was stupidly easy. I forgot that most of the guards don't even have guns, so I can just avoid them with no real trouble and get out of the vault in about 5 minutes. When I get outside, I level up and put everything into small guns, as trust me, I am going to need every extra bit of damage that I can get. I explore Springvale for a bit to find some loot to sell when I get to Megaton, and to my surprise, I was able to find a .32 pistol along with 8 bullets for it in a very easy save in one of the destroyed houses. The gun is in pretty bad condition and does a whopping 3 damage at the moment, but regardless, that doesn't stop me from heading straight to Silver's house to try and kill her for more ammo. To show you just how bad the gun is, I put 7 rounds into her skull and it doesn't even kill her. Not that it matters, because as soon as I fire the last round, the game crashes. I'm going to be completely honest and get this out of the way now. The game crashed 15 times during this whole playthrough, so if you don't see another Fallout 3 video for a while, you know why. Upon starting up the game the second time, I tried to fight Silver again but ran out of ammo, so I had to load back. Third time's the charm, however, as I get a sneak attack off which is able to take away half of her health and then loot the .32 ammo she has lying around the floor before finishing her off. I loot the extra ammo and pistol off of Silver, as well as most of her food and valuables to trade. Before going into Megaton, I decided to grab the hidden sniper rifle and the hollowed out rock around the side of the town, as well as the 2 stealth boys that will be crucial for later on. I also witness a pack of dogs and mole rats fight to the death for my amusement. The winner gets the privilege of being a test subject for me to find out how many bullets it will take to kill. It's like that famous quote from Metal Gear Solid 1, 10 bullets, just enough to kill them all. Once I finally enter Megaton, I head straight for Crater Side Supply to get some ammo, and I do! An amazing 5 bullets. I knew ammo would be scarce, but I didn't think it would be this bad. So instead, I use the money to buy stim packs from Moira, and I also decide to arm the nuke in the middle of town, because if they aren't going to sell me what I need, then I have no use for them. I don't blow them up yet, as I want to do the first part of the Wasteland Survival Guide quest to get some food and meds from the Super Duper Mart. I was ready to fight the raiders outside of the mart, but there was a friendly rat scorpion that wouldn't attack me that dealt with the ones outside. This is probably because I entered the Konami code before playing. You know, that famous cheat code that everyone knows. You know, the one that goes up, up, down, down, left, right, like, subscribe, BA, start. Anyway, inside I checked through every single ammo crate and container and didn't find a single piece of ammo for my gun, only laser and assault rifle ammo. I was able to deal with a few raiders due to some lucky crits, but I didn't have anywhere near the ammo to deal with the patrols that come back when you leave, so I just grabbed the food and meds and made a run for it, and as soon as I was outside, fast traveled back to Megaton to turn in the quest. So now it was time to blow up the city. Outside of Megaton, I found Lucky Harith and was able to get 19 rounds from my gun, giving me a total of just 23 bullets to get me all the way to Tenpenny Tower. Almost immediately after setting out, I got attacked by a bloatfly, which normally you would just shoot and be on your way, but seeing how I'm basically carrying a Nerf gun, it'll take me multiple shots to kill what is considered the weakest enemy in the game, so I just run away from it. This is a new low for me in Fallout, by the way. Not more than 2 minutes later, however, and I encounter a small group of raiders and choose to fight them. Thankfully, one of them dropped ammo and another .32 pistol, meaning I could at least keep mine repaired for the time being. I also led a mole rat into Tinker Joe and his robot firing squad, which was oddly satisfying. And with that, I was at Tenpenny Tower, which wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. In fact, it was actually great because Gustavo sells .32 ammo and in huge quantities, so I buy all he has, giving me just over 50 bullets to work with, which is great. When we get up to Tenpenny and Mr. Burt, they let me in on their little secret.
We've got a son, Catherine. A beautiful, healthy baby boy.
After the party, I decided to spend a while just waiting around to let Gustavo's inventory refill, so I could get as much ammo as I could afford for now. By the time I was finished, I had just under 200 bullets for the .32, which is certainly more than I thought I would have this early on. I decided that since I'm in the area, I will head north and just start the story from Smith Casey's garage, so I don't need to waste ammo and time doing all the other stuff just to end up bringing me back here anyway. On my way north, I ended up encountering more vicious dogs, which I dealt with so quickly I had to double check that the difficulty was still on normal. I also witnessed a three-way battle for the ages as a bloatfly, vicious dog and an eyebot all duked it out in front of me. The vicious dog was the champion and as such got the same reward as the previous mole rat champion. It was around this point where I began to realise I hadn't reached the garage yet, even though I had been heading north. Turns out I had gotten lost. This became pretty apparent when I accidentally stumbled upon the Talon Company's headquarters, and I was not about to try and deal with all that. I was fortunate enough to lead the mercs towards some super mutants, and so both of those problems resolved themselves. Even though I just said about how bad an idea it would be to try and fight Talon Company and 2 normal super mutants, I somehow came to the conclusion that going straight into Evergreen Mills and picking a fight with the raiders and the super mutant behemoth was a good idea. I was only able to deal with the raiders due to some lucky crits, and the fact that I decided to set the super mutant behemoth on them. He made very short work of any stragglers, I will say.
Punch!
Because I'm curious, I did try the impossible to see if I could kill the behemoth. Well, even after 100 bullets, most of which were headshots and some crits at that, I was only able to take him down to just half of his health. I was also on Psycho, but a 25% attack bonus doesn't mean a whole lot when the gun you're using only does 5 damage per shot. I look back to a save I made just after killing the raiders, but just before I threw all my ammo at the behemoth and run out of Evergreen Mills as fast as I can. Not sure how he never caught up to me now that I'm looking back on it, but I'm just going to say it's a glitch and move on, as that's the answer to most of the questions in these games. If you're wondering, I got through all the mines by using my expansive knowledge of bomb disposal, from watching the first 10 minutes of the Hurt Locker like 10 years ago. Thankfully, I found the garage within the next 5 minutes or so and made my way down to the vault and just used the Chinese invasion protocol and get this part over and done with. Once I rescued Dad, I decided to head back to Megaton to see how things are going. It's certainly a huge improvement. Moira, bless her soul, still just wants me to bring her back a disarmed mine, as if the giant nuke going off beside her at point blank range wasn't enough. I noticed that after the raiders and all the dogs from earlier that I'm now low on ammo again, and decided to restock before like back at Tenpenny Tower. I'm only able to get about 120 bullets total as I'm lacking funds. Afterwards I fast travel back to the Super Duper Mart as it's a straight shot from there to the Purifier, and I want to head there to mark it on the map, and I might as well try and clear the super mutants now rather than later. When I arrive at the Super Duper Mart, I am greeted by ants, and before I can properly engage them, an old friend charges in to save me. Better yet, he tries to kill Brian Wilkes so he can't complain to me about his town being burned down. Something we have all tried to do at some point, I'm sure. After saying goodbye to our dear old friend, I make my way to the memorial with no issues. Unlike the last Fallout 3 challenge, I'm fast enough that I can run past the initial super mutants you come across when crossing the river. Inside the Jefferson Memorial, the super mutants aren't too bad to deal with. A little annoying due to the strength of my weapon, but most of them only have nail boards, so they also don't hurt me very much either. Things don't get really tough until I enter the basement, as there's a lot of mutants in a small area, as well as a super mutant brute with an assault rifle, who does way more damage than I thought he would. I have just enough ammo to kill all of them, but in the process used all of my stim packs. I mean, I wouldn't be able to just buy ammo when I got to Rivet City like I had planned. Speaking of which, on the way to Nerbit City, I just ignore all the mutants outside the memorial, as you don't actually need to kill them to get the scientists inside. When at Nerbit City, I stop off at Flak and Shrapnels and I do the same method as before with Gustavo until I have 244 bullets. Which may seem like overkill, as all I have to fight next is a handful of Enclave soldiers, but I'm worried that their power armor is going to make them near impossible to kill. When I get all the scientists back to the purifier, as everyone knows, you basically just have to run up and down to the basement a few times. It's not as bad as the last time as I move at proper speed, but that still doesn't make it any less monotonous. I do find a way to make things a little more interesting though.
And to make things worse, this time he brings his snot-nosed kid along for the ride.
When I activate the final pump, or whatever, I've been skipping the dialogue so I don't really know the specifics, I go to see the Enclave do my job and finish clearing out the super mutants outside. Now it was time for my first fight with the Enclave, and honestly, I was taken aback by the fact that it was no more difficult than fighting most raiders up to this point. So I make my way through them pretty easily and get to the purifier to watch Liam Neeson die, as well as glitch loading Colonel Autumn's code for myself simply because it looks nice with my hat. During the escape I only have to kill one Enclave soldier, and since I was smart enough to kill Garza earlier, I don't have to deal with his heart problems. So everyone wins really. When we make it to the Citadel, I do the usual song and dance of finding out the location of Vault 87, and then decide to get another 30 rounds for my pistol. Now what I should probably have done is go around and get more ammo, but as I wrote here in my notes, I decide to just wing it and head for Little Lamplight right away. Remember how I put all of my points into luck at the beginning? Well, because of that, this happened on my way to Little Lamplight. Yeah, just my luck that the Fire Lance decides to spawn in a playthrough where I can't use the darn thing. Truth be told, I did try to find it, but all I found was a few power cells before giving up and continuing on. Once I found Lamplight, I decided to use my head for once and travel back to Megaton Ruins to wait for Crow to spawn, as I know he has a radiation suit and I have a feeling that I will need it to grab the geck. Talking about me being somewhat capable of having smart ideas, I also took the Child Heart perk earlier in the run because I'm not going to try and fight my way through Paradise Falls with this piece of junk. Now, despite the fact that I bought all this ammo for a situation like Murder Pass and Vault 87, I decided now would be the time to use the stealth boys I got way back at the start of the run just outside of Megaton. Thanks to them, I was able to sneak through all of Murder Pass without any issue, meaning I wouldn't have to waste any ammo and none of the super mutants here would follow me into the vault. When in the vault, I wait for what feels like an eternity as these two super mutants discuss the finer things in life, until they are finally done and I can sneak past them with my second stealth boy. It works for a little bit, but I ended up getting lost for so long that it ran out before I could get to the test labs, meaning they were all following me and there was no way I could kill them all. When I did finally get to the labs, this is what it looked like. So after being torn to shreds by these super ogres, I go back to when I entered the labs, and I'm guessing because the game had to reload the area, it didn't load in the mutants from the entrance, meaning they didn't follow me in this time. As you can imagine, this made things a lot less stressful and a lot simpler. I put on my radiation suit and took some Rad-X and made my way for the geck, rather than use Fox. When I get to it, I'm given the option to either take it like you're meant to, or you can use it right here, which will apparently create a new fertile landscape, meaning life can begin anew. Well, that sounds like the best possible ending, so I decide to activate the geck and see what happens.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Alright, so second time around, I grab the geck and get kidnapped, as is the norm, and now I need to make my way through Raven Rock. When I make my escape, I lack the speech skill to talk my way out of the situation, and therefore end up having to murder an Enclave officer and a soldier before Eden tells his men to stand down. It's amazing how quickly the third Enclave soldier I was fighting just decided to leave after witnessing me kill two of his friends. This only lasts for like 30 seconds though, until Autumn tells him to just start shooting me anyway. Lucky for me, right before they all became hostile, I was able to loot another stealth boy from a crate, and then use that to sneak my way towards Eden. There was this strange glitch where for some reason I could hear the constant sound of the Gatling laser going off. Not game breaking, just odd. Luckily for me, the stealth boy was able to last long enough, so I was able to sneak my way out of the base as well. I also got a sneak attack critical on someone, and let's just say, it makes me think going down the stealth option may have been a better idea. Once I leave Raven Rock, I travel to Tenpenny Tower and Nerbit City to do one last round of buying stims and ammo before heading back to the Citadel to start the final quest. As you can imagine in Fallout 3 runs, there isn't much to talk about on the walk to the Jefferson Memorial, as Liberty Prime and the Pride kill most Enclave before I even get a chance to see them, let alone attack them. I do manage to kill a few who were hiding in the entrance to this building. When inside the Jefferson Memorial, I started a fight with the Enclave in the main area as you walk in. I even killed one, but then I remembered that you can just head straight for the Purifier. So I did. The final battle with Autumn was nothing too difficult. I didn't even get to finish him off, Lions just ran in off screen and burned the poor man alive. Even at the end of the run, the Enclave reminded me how worthless this weapon was when I repeatedly fired shot after shot into this soldier's head and he just completely ignored me. I then decided to sacrifice myself as a way to redeem Pistol Bobcat for the countless people he has murdered, or maybe it's because I mashed my way through the dialogue options, who can truly say. Regardless, in the end, yes, it is indeed possible to beat Fallout 3 with just a .32 pistol. While definitely more bearable than the crafted weapons only challenge, this one still had its own problems, mainly the ammo and how hard it was to come by, besides standing around waiting for shops to restock. So, would I recommend that you try doing this? Nope. With that being said, that's going to be the end of this challenge run video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel, as it really does help me out a lot and it will let you know when I upload my next challenge run video. My name's Nerbit, and I'll see you all later.